What's up, upstanders? Dr. O here. And look, everybody has lots to say about the Pete Hegseth hearing. My takeaway from it is that this is the classic example of what a DEI hire looks like. Because at the end of the day in this country, we have always had affirmative action policies for white, cisgendered, heterosexual Christian men. We just always have. Now, even if you weren't a rich person who fits that category, at the same time, you still weren't a black person. So you still had lots of other rights afforded to you. So whether we're talking about like the Homestead Acts, whether we're talking about so many things that help this country set itself up for white men, that system is still being fought today. When you look at this Hegseth hearing, Republicans did nothing but push him up. Literally by asking them, like, how many push-ups do you do in a day? Oh, don't forget to mention your kids. They don't care. They don't care as long as he fits that description. A man who sees the State Department the Department of Defense as a flaming sword of Christ, I believe was his term. A guy who's put out Islamophobic views. So many different things. We don't have to go down the list. But for all of y'all who literally talk about qualifications and talking about DEI means doesn't earn it, this man didn't earn any of this. And to literally get up there and lie about this, you should have a Secretary of Defense who actually had boots on the ground. Like, that's just not true. Austin, Mattis, like, run down the list. And as Senator Claire McCaskill said, she was the one who said that this is the first time that this process has been politicized, meaning that no Democrats were met with by Pete Hegseth. The FBI, quote unquote, background check wasn't even complete and then wasn't even shared with Democrats. And people are talking about, oh, Christopher Wray, FBI director, is a stand-up guy, so on and so forth. Really? Why didn't you interview the woman who accused Hegseth of rape? Why didn't you interview the ex-wives? This is very Kavanaugh-esque. But it doesn't matter because of Hegseth's background. Even when Trump came around the first time, he at least had somebody in Mattis who was completely qualified for the job, whether you agree with policies or not, which is why he won 98-1. 98-1, but Republicans have shown they don't care. Joni Ernst has shown that she doesn't care. These people, I don't even know if spineless is a term. I just feel like they just don't care. They want to make sure they got theirs, and that's all that matters. So y'all want to talk about my qualifications, y'all in the comments talking about how did you get a PhD and so on and so forth. I worked for it. I earned it. You want to talk about how Vice President Kamala Harris got to be vice president. She worked for it. She earned it. She was a senator, a prosecutor, all of these different types of things. Ketanji Brown Jackson was probably more qualified than any justice in the history of the U.S. Supreme Court. Earned it, worked it. Look at Hegseth. Look at his qualifications. Look at the fact that, and people talk about, oh, he wants to be an anti-woke. And even though I don't like when Claire McCaskill throws out woke all of the time, one of the things she said in the segment was, is it woke to be sober? Like, and that kind of basically hints at what I'm talking about in terms of quote unquote woke policies are policies that are inclusive and help everybody be fairly represented. This man has no qualifications except that he is a white heterosexual cisgendered Christian male. And we're going to see more of this. Sure, we're going to see some other people get through, the Pam Bondis of the world, the Cash Patels of the world, but we know that white women have been able to get over on some things. You know, look at affirmative action, white women benefited more, but some other people get honorary white status when needed, and we're going to see that with Patel and others. So look, really at the end of the day, anytime people talk about DEI hire, please just find video of Hegseth's nomination confirmation hearing and just send it over and ask people to give a real legitimate argument as to why this guy does not represent some type of DEI hire. The fact of the matter is that DEI is a real thing, but one of the things that people don't want to talk about is that when people are hired under DEI policies of any sort, they are qualified people. It's not just, oh, go find a black person, go find a Latino, go find a woman, and look, some people have done that, don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about the merit and the spirit of the beauty of what diversity, equity, and inclusion is all about. The equity piece is about giving people access to equal resources to be able to get to be included in the conversation, to be able to be included in employment decisions, in school decisions, and so on and so forth. This idea that people are taking a random person off the street and just putting them in Harvard, well, that's never what it's been about in any way, shape, or form. But with Hegseth, this is kind of a rando who's being just put up in there and thrown into the State Department because he also has the looks. As they say, Donald Trump cares about central casting. So look, y'all got nothing for me. We can talk about people, and even if we can talk about Pam Bondi, and the fact of the matter is she's up there lying about, there was a peaceful transfer of power and all of that. But I'm talking about, what was the other thing she said in her hearing, that, Donald Trump want to mandate landslide, so on and so forth. Not true. None of those things are true. But on paper, the qualifications are there on paper. For this dude, there's nothing on paper. So look, y'all, this is what's popping. This is what's going on. What are you going to do about it? Are we going to speak up? Are we going to be upstanders, or are we going to be bystanders? Are we going to continue, as Clay Kane talks about, to act locally and get out there and fight? I'm asking, are we going to get out there and organize boycotts or boycotts? Are we looking at our dollars and how things are spent, where our tax money's going? Like, there's lots of things that we can do to fight this. But my main point was that there should be no more debate about what a DEI program looks like for these Republicans and for these MAGA folks. Is get anybody who was white, Christian, cisgendered, male, and toss them in there, because they don't give a damn about nothing else. And they're going to disrespect the qualifications of everybody who came before that just to get their point across. But there's just no reason to deny this, in case you ever had any doubt. Let's just call a thing a thing. Peace.